The Rotating Rotary Phone, submitted by Evelyn Carter, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. You know how people say some objects carry a memory? A kind of psychic residue from their past? I never believed that stuff growing up. I mean, I'm a social worker. My world is practical paperwork, home visits, court dates. But a few years ago, I moved into my grandmother's old house after she passed away, and something happened that I still can't explain. It started with a rotary phone. My grandmother, Eleanor Carter, was a resilient woman. Grew up during the Great Depression, raised 3 kids, and outlived 2 husbands. She never upgraded to modern stuff. Her house was a living museum. Lace curtains, floral wallpaper, creaky wooden floors, and in the hallway, mounted on a little table, was her old beige rotary phone from the 1960s. When I moved in, I didn't touch it. It wasn't plugged in. It didn't even have a proper jack anymore. I thought it was just there for nostalgia. But then it started rotating. On its own. The first time I noticed it, I had just come home from work. I passed the hallway like I always did, dropped my keys and froze. The dial was mid-spin, like someone had just tried to call a number and let go. Spun slowly, then stopped at 3. I remember thinking, maybe it's the house settling or a draft. I even laughed it off, but I couldn't shake the weirdness of it. Why would a rotary dial move by itself? The next night, it happened again, but this time the entire sequence dialed out for then 7, then 2, then 3 again, slowly, precisely, like invisible fingers pushing it around. I stood there, frozen, staring at this ancient phone that wasn't plugged into anything, dialing a number no one had asked it to. A few days later, things escalated. I had some friends over for wine and horror movies, Renee and Michael. I told them about the phone as a joke. "You probably bumped it," Michael said. "I don't go near it," I replied. "It's bolted to the table." Renee, who's into paranormal stuff, was instantly intrigued. "You should record it," she said. So we set up a phone camera on the hallway table and let it run overnight. Nothing for hours, until exactly 2:13 a.m., when the dial began to spin slowly, deliberately. It dialed the same sequence. 4, 7, 2, 3, then stopped. But here's the thing. When we played back the footage, the phone dial moved, but no shadows, no breeze, nothing else in the shot moved. Even the thin chain on a nearby lamp didn't sway. It was like only the phone existed in that moment. Renee did some digging. She found out that rotary phones use something called a pulse dialing system, and each number corresponds to a specific number of electrical pulses. Back in the day, you could decode the dialed number by counting the clicks. So we wrote down the number, 4723. It didn't match any modern phone codes, but something about it felt familiar. That night, I couldn't sleep. Around 1 a.m., I sat in front of the phone, staring at it, when it started spinning again. But this time, it didn't stop at 4723. It dialed a full 10-digit number. I scribbled it down. The area code was 717, same as Harrisburg. So I called it from my cell. Big mistake. It rang once. Then a voice picked up. But it wasn't like any voice I've ever heard. It sounded watery, distant, like someone talking through a tunnel full of static. It said, "Don't answer again." Then silence. No click. No tone. Just dead air. The next few nights were terrifying. The phone kept spinning, sometimes during the day, sometimes right before dawn. And then, on the fifth night, I heard the actual bell ring. I didn't even know it could still make noise. It rang twice. Not a cell ringtone. Not an alert. A true, old-fashioned metal bell echoing through the house. I picked it up, hand trembling, and all I heard was breathing. Then the same voice. Someone will answer soon. The following morning, I went to the county records office. I needed answers. Turns out there was a previous owner before my grandmother, someone named Robert Ainsley. The house deed dated back to 1958. I dug deeper. In 1962, Ainsley's wife and 7-year-old daughter were found murdered in that very hallway, the hallway where the Rotary phone now sits. Ainsley was never found. The case went cold. But there's a detail that gave me chills. Back then, the emergency number wasn't 911. In that part of Pennsylvania, you had to dial your local sheriff's line directly. And guess what? The local police line in 1962 was 4723. Renee's theory? The rotary phone was trying to redial the emergency call that never connected. Maybe it tried to call for help when the murders happened. Maybe the wife or daughter managed to spin a few numbers before she died. Or maybe Ainsley tried to confess. I don't know. But 1 week later, I had the phone removed. I took it to an antique store across town, told them I didn't care what they did with it. Just keep it far away from me. The guy behind the counter looked at the number scratched into the metal on the back of the phone and asked, "Huh? You're not the first one to bring this in. I haven't seen the phone since. Haven't had any weird calls. But sometimes, just after midnight, I swear I hear a distant ringing from the walls of the house."